After serving as a decoy, Patton is back in the war in August 1944, 2 months after D-Day, leading the Allies' drive to Berlin. But his casualties are off the charts, just like you'd expect from the general called Old Blood and Guts.
Nothing could be farther from the truth. That's another part of the Patton mythology, because in reality, he appears to be somebody that fought his armies, making use of terrain and mechanization in such a way as to conserve casualties as much as possible.
He produced more results in less time with fewer casualties than any other general in any army in World War II.
A low casualty rate and hyper-aggressive combat tactics seem like an impossible mix, but that's what defines Patton's genius for war.
He believed in constantly attacking the enemy. He believed in kicking him in the pants and never letting him rest. The pragmatism behind that idea was very simple, and that is that if you weren't constantly pressuring the enemy, it provided opportunities for the enemy to dig in, for the enemy to resupply, for the enemy to reorganize. Whereas if you kept constant pressure on the enemy, you maintained the position of power over the enemy.
Patton drove his troops to do this. It's counterintuitive, it is hard to do, it's terrifying, it ultimately saves lives.
But if Patton is such a genius at minimizing casualties, why do his men refer to him as Old Blood and Guts?
He wanted his officers who he trained to know what they were going to expect in battle. And he said to them, "You are going to be up to your neck in blood and guts." This made quite an impression, and it stuck. And from that point on, he was known as Old Blood and Guts.
And since Old Blood and Guts is a master strategist, his combat record, unlike his personal conduct, is full of nothing but success. The truth is, one of his operations in March 1945 ends in disaster. His plan is to liberate a POW camp in Hammelburg, 60 miles behind German lines. It's ostensibly a diversionary tactic, but Patton has a private agenda for this mission.
The main reason he did this is that his son-in-law, Lieutenant Colonel Waters, who had been captured by the Germans back in Africa, was in this POW camp.
John Waters was always in the back of Patton's brain during the war. So when he had this slim opportunity to save one soldier, his son-in-law, Patton went for it, and it was a stupid and terrible idea.
Captain Abraham Baum leads the task force of 300 soldiers and 53 vehicles on the bold raid.
The task force makes it to the POW camp, but the Germans surround it and basically annihilate it. The soldiers that had been sent to do this rescue are going to end up in the POW camp with the other POWs.
So Patton had succeeded not only in keeping Waters into POW long after everybody else was liberated, he was among the last to get liberated, and then risk the lives of 300 plus men to liberate one man, essentially, was the result of his love for his daughter.
It's an example of George Patton doing something impetuously. What it does is it illustrates that George Patton was a human being.